Hey guys, Fred Bohm coming at you here with a video. Figured I'd put something together for you because I had a lot of questions about this particular Instagram post on that image and exactly how to do it. So, figured I'd put a tutorial together for you. Really not that complex. It's a bit of work in Photoshop, a little bit of pre-planning ahead of time, and some Lightroom. So let's hop to it. So here we go. This is the final image we're looking to get. So what I started with here is the back plate. Just a simple picture, shot it on a tripod. Same exact angle. This is just me standing in front of the camera. So I'm going to take this one, copy it, Command C, paste it here, Command V. Now we have both in the same composition. So what we're going to do here now is, you can see they're just one laid over top of the other. I'm going to essentially cut out the background, and all I wanted is really my coat and the hands. So I just put a layer mask there, and I'm going to use a magic wand tool to get rid of the background here, because there's such a vast difference between the my jacket and the background. It's pretty easy to do that, and it picks up on it really well. So just going to kind of run through that, take out the background, select layer masks there, and just give it a slight feather so it doesn't look like it has such sharp edges. All right, there we go. Just kind of kick that up a little bit, click OK. And now you see those little dancing ants there, those crawling ants. That is the area selected, so I just take the paint bucket with black. I fill that area in on that layer mask. Anything that's black is transparent. Anything that's white is opaque. So the easier way to see this, I'll take the background out. There you go. Everything there is transparent. If you see the black and white checkered, that's transparent. So that's what we're looking to get. Just going to do the same exact thing. Go back to the magic wand tool and select the rest of the background. We'll do this real quick. Boom, 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 boom. And once again, you're going to go back to that bucket tool, and you're just going to dump black in there. And the black is going to make that transparent. And if there's any small little spots like up there, what you could do is we're going to use the paintbrush tool to take that out of there. So I'm not too worried about down here. There we go. Paintbrush tool. And same thing with black. You could just, it pretty much black erases is what that's going to end up doing. Now, if you're not able to erase it, what you need to do is hit Command D. That's going to deselect any of the selected areas. So you want to hit that first so there's no more crawling ants. And now it's pretty much just a freeform tool. You could kind of rip around. There you go. Boom. Take everything out. Pretty clean. Now comes the little bit more difficult part of cutting me out. But first, what I typically do is I'll just cut out the majority of the area. That just kind of helps out. Oop, we'll keep the pants. We may want my pants in there a little bit. There we go. So, again, using the brush tool with black, just erasing the majority of me there. So then for the edges itself, I'm going to use something a little bit more exact. For that, we're going to end up using the pen tool to cut myself out. So, here we go. I'm just going to do this real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Pen tool. Okay. So now go up top there. Click on selection. I give it a little bit of a feather there. So now that's selected. The same way as it was before. Take the paint bucket tool. Boom. Plop it in there. That'll get rid of everything. What you want to do is hit Command D to deselect everything. Get rid of the marching ants. Go to your pen tool. You're going to be on black again. And what you're going to do is get rid of everything you don't want. And the beauty of this with a layer mask is if you just hit X, that's going to switch it over to white. Then you can paint anything back in. So if you messed up, you went too far in, you're like, I want some of the jacket back or something of the sorts. You just paint it back in with white, and then that makes it opaque again. That'll bring it back. So just go real quick, and now you can see just pretty much my coat and my hands and my pants on top of that backplate background. All right, so it looks kind of crappy right now, right? You know, there's just not much to it. So what I end up doing is I Command J to duplicate the background. And what I'm going to do is put a Gaussian blur on it. And what that's going to do is kind of give it more of a depth of field because everything seems too crisp right now. So I do that to the background, the clouds, whatnot. Going to put a Gaussian blur. And there you go. And then again, put a layer mask on that. So you're going to take your brush there, paint out the inside of the jacket so you reveal the background. Because I want the inside to be clear. I don't want the inside to have that depth of field. I want that to kind of feel like, you know, the look into the soul type of thing. Looking back here, this was what I had in Instagram that you saw, and what you're seeing down there, it's black. I didn't want that white. Snow was just too distracting. So what I'm going to end up doing is putting a layer above that. So I'm going to undo the top layer just so I can see what I'm working with. There you go. And I'm going to clean that up with the stamp tool. Okay, so Alt. When you press Alt, that is where it's determining where it's going to take that information from. So you'll see a little crosshair. Boom. That's Alt. Click there. And then now I'm just painting. I'm getting rid of that snow. Again, it was just too distracting when I was playing with it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. See, that's what it was previously. That's what it is there. Turn your other layers back on. Okay, now we're going to save it because it's ready for color grading, and we're going to bring it into Lightroom. At this point, what I'm going to do is get the correct aspect ratio. So I'm going to go up there, and then I'm going to go down to 4 or 5. That's what I like for Instagram. Okay, kind of crop it exactly how I think I'm going to want it. There you go. So that's the start of it. I'm going to warm it up a little bit. Bring it up there, and then just kind of go a little bit more towards the greens. There you go. So I think exposure is pretty good. Let's bump that contrast up a little bit. We're going to drop down the highlights, somewhere right about there. And we're going to do the same thing with the shadows. Let's get that darkened up. There we go. It's making that jacket look really nice. You know, we're going to take the whites down just a little bit. Don't want it so bright. Same thing with the blacks. It's going to be pretty dramatic is what I'm looking for in this one. There you go. Now I'm going to go take the clarity up a little bit, make it even a little bit more dramatic. Just kind of tweaking a little bit with the dehaze. And, you know, it's a little bit too saturated for me, so I'm going to take that down some. Now we're going to go down to the curves here. What we're going to do is pull the highlights up just a little bit, then pull the blacks up some. I don't want to have the blacks completely crushed. So you can see in the shadows there, it's not completely black. So I'll go up to the luminance, and those blues are just a little bit too bright for me, so I'm going to darken that down. There we go. A little bit more of a steel look too. And so I'm going to head down, and I want to do a little bit of a vignette to really try to highlight me and what's inside of me there. So we're going to drop that down on the outside so it's not so bright. Now you're looking at the bottom of this thing. You're like, dude, Fred, that looks stupid. All right, so let's fix that. What I'm going to do is take a gradient here. Push that up from the bottom. And that allows you to do certain things to the image. Like right here, what I'm going to do is drop that exposure down a good bit. Okay, cool. Let's move that up a little bit higher. There it is. All right, somewhere right about there. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll drop the shadows a good bit as well. All right, so we can close that now. So it's getting there, but you're still seeing that snow down there. So now I'll go get the brush tool. Take that, increase its size. And what I'm going to do is brush in areas where I want to adjust either the exposure or any of these options up here. So I'll drop the exposure down, brush it in a little bit more. Some of that right there is kind of distracting. So I'm going to brush that out a good bit as well. Just gives it this real dark, bodiless feel to it that I thought was pretty cool. And kind of the whole idea behind it was looking through me to see what my passions are, and my body's revealing that. Oh, so deep, I know. Okay, so now what I'm doing is brushing in. Like, some of the blacks are too black, so I'm taking that again, brush where I'm thinking I'm just not getting enough detail. Not really, just bump up the exposure just a tiny bit, but really what I'm looking to bump up is the shadows. There you go. So that'll give you some more detail back. Not to make that pitch black without any detail in it. There you go. Brush it up a little bit more. And there you go. Not that complex. A little bit of pre-planning, some post-production work, and you can have images like that too. If you guys have any other questions, or if you'd like to hear some future tutorials, got any suggestions, post below. I'll see what I could do. See you out in the woods.